yeah, 1 2 1 2 in the place to be. Uh-huh. Boom, boom. 1 2 1 2 1 2. Yep. Live and direct from the Live Wire Studio. Yo, what's up? It's your host, Barz the General, and you are live and direct from Live Wire Studios. What's up, y'all? On this beautiful, illustrious Saturday, man. I hope everybody is enjoying themselves. I'm excited to be back in the studio, be back in the seat, man. You know, life has been life, and you know what it is, you know how it is, you know. But we got a dope show lined up for you today. First and foremost, telling everybody get in the car, and spin the block with Barz on Barz Block today. We're gonna discuss one of the most influential elements in hip hop, one of the five, breakdancing, and we're gonna talk about its impact on society, how it changed society. You can check us out, on LWR 80401. That's our YouTube feed, and the at live.wire 804. That's the Facebook, and of course you can catch me on the Barz Block page. And we're gonna get into it right now. But first, I wanna talk to y'all. I wanna ask y'all some questions. Who was your favorite b-boy? Back in the era of the golden era, in the pioneering stages. When the hip hop was at its bait, when it was in infant stages. Who was your favorite b-boy and why? Today we're gonna discuss some of the most influential ones right here on Live Wire Radio on Barz Block. But right now I'm gonna get into one of my favorite b-boy songs, right? That I love, that I used to see, a lot of the b-boys get down on, and that's the most famous one, the Apache, the Incredible Bongo Band, right here on Live Wire Radio. It's good because they're written in the same order. Yo, what's up, y'all? If you're tuning in, if you're on the live, if you're tuning in on our social media platforms, we thank you. If you're on our Live 365 Live Wire, we thank you. What's up, y'all? It's been a minute. I'm back. It's your man Barz the General, and like I said, today I got a dope show for y'all. We're gonna discuss the most influential b-boys. We're gonna discuss, just the whole element of breakdancing, man, how phenomenal it was. For my artists, for my fellow hip hoppers, which ones did you partake in? We can discuss that too. What all? Some of us we just we beatbox. I started out beatboxing before I started rhyming. I was a beatboxer. I dabbled in some graffiti. I did a little bit of popping. I will not call myself a b-boy. I will not do that. But those that know, they know what I used to do. You know what I'm saying? I was a part of a group called the Floor Rockers. Shout out to my man High C. What's up, man? That was one of my brothers from back home, and we had a group called the Floor Rockers, man. And it was always on and popping at every dance, every function. You know what I'm saying? And we was in the building. I was the MC. I was the guy that when they would be b-boying, I was just talking about what they was doing, bigging them up and whatnot. But yeah, man, it feels good to be back. Hope everybody's having a beautiful afternoon. Get in the car. Get in the car. Get in the car. What's up, Bully? What's up? I got my team in the building. What's up, B Mumford? How you? What's up, man? How you doing today, man?
I'm doing good, man.
Good. It's a great time to be alive. Want y'all to drop y'all comments in. Drop in where you from, your comments, man. Who's your favorite b-boy? We want to hear it right here on Barz Block. We want to hear who's your favorite b-boy and why. What was their favorite move? What was it that they did that made you really want to, start beatboxing? Breakdancing. I had my favorite. Who I'm going to discuss today. One of my favorites, Mr. Wave, was one of my favorites from the New York City Breakers. I have his story, the vetted story, right here. Like I said, on Barz Block, it's all vetted, baby. It ain't nothing word of mouth. It's all from the source. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my man Mike J, Bars and Beats Society. You know what I'm saying? You never know what's gonna happen in between the bars and the beats. You know what I'm saying? Check him out on Facebook, Bars and Beats Society. My man Mike J in the building. What's up, man? Sending a shout out to all my people. You know, shout out to everybody in the RVA and the DMV. You know what I'm saying? Yo, what's up, man? And we are back live and direct right here on Barz Block. That was Apache, the incredible bongo band. That was one of the most influential songs. One of the songs that most b-boys, you know what I'm saying, when they came on, it was on and popping. You know, if your rival was in the building, wherever, whatever the function was, you know, when that song came on, it was wide open. But today, like I said, we're gonna highlight some of the most influential b-boys of the culture breakdancing. One of the elements of hip hop, right? One of the most influential. It made its way all the way across to Europe, all across the globe. But today I have the honor, right? I have the honor, and shout out to Mike J. This is written by Mike J. From Bars and Beats Society. I have the honor of having the story, right? I wish he would be here to tell it himself, but I have the honor of telling the story of Laurie Myers, aka Trixie, the widely known as the first b-boy and breakdancer of the hip hop culture. Trixie was a good friend of DJ Kool Herc, right? Who is also known as the father of hip hop, right? And Trixie and his cousin Wallace D, his sister Kimmy, and a few of his friends, the original b-boys breakdancing for the culture of hip hop. Trixie was motivated by tap dancers at the Cotton Club. He comes from a family of dancers that danced at the Cotton Club and was inspired by the many flips and splits and acrobats that they did. You know how they used to dance back then? They would do the wild dances, jumping over people's heads, and you know, my aunt and them used to do that. If any of y'all know, you know, that's what it was back in Harlem. But they used to, you know, they had family that danced at the Cotton Club, and they were inspired by them. And he and his friends danced in the many competitions, and he wanted to do something different with his dancing against Wallace D. So he jumped over his head and began rolling on the floor and spinning on his back. Trixie gained massive reputation, and his fame exploded onto the club scene. He later found out that Wallace D was his cousin. Trixie had many b-boy battles there, but still ranked supreme. His famous battle at the Executive Playhouse, a hot spot for Kool Herc, was with the great dancing Doug Douglas Cologne, and many people talk about his battle as being the best to this day. In 1974, 1975, I took y'all back. B-Boy Sosa came after the fact, but B-Boy Sosa came along as King Trixie passed the torch to the next generation. Trixie is one of the leaders of the B-Boy Committee for the Universal Hip Hop Museum in the Bronx, the B-Boy Committee, and is dedicated to the facilitation of the B-Boy section of the Universal Hip Hop Museum, and was formed by Curtis Blow, written by Mike J. Shout out to Mike J of Bars and Beats Society. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, man, it's the vetted info from the vet's mouth. You know what I'm saying? The first B-Boy, you heard it right here. That's the first B-Boy in hip hop. You know, we do what we do because of him. Now, on this segment of This Is How the Story Goes, let me tell you, I heard the story from his mouth. It was actually because you have to understand it was a time when gangs were still prevalent in the city, big time, right? You had the Black Spades and many other different, you know, you all remember the Warriors, right? The movie The Warriors. Remember all them gangs? That's what it was. You had the gangs. Now, from the source's mouth, he told me straight up, like, you know, we were tired. We were tired of people dying, getting hurt, family members dying. You know, like you said, Wallace was his cousin. He didn't even know, but it was his cousin. You know, but, you know, in his story, he told me, man, they were tired of people dying. So they decided they would have a dance-off. The dance-off took the place of gang fighting. You know what I'm saying? That is something that is, I mean, you know, you can't ignore that, you know. And this is why I tell people, you know, you have to look at the infancy stages of hip hop, right? And you can see the positivity, what it did. It changed society as a whole, you know, from violence to expression. We went from fighting to dancing against one another, seeing who had the best moves. But the whole thing was, you came back. another day. You had another day. You know, you might have lost that day in that battle, but you had another day to come back. You know what I'm saying, and do it all over again. And that's the beauty, man. Positive, you know, influence that it had. You know, peace, love, unity, and having fun. You know, that's the whole premises of hip hop. And this is why we do what we do, ladies and gentlemen. So, you know, if we could get a round of applause for my man, Laurie Myers, a.k.a. Trixie. This is the first B-boy, ladies and gentlemen, of hip-hop. The first B-boy. Can we get a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? Because this man, you know what I'm saying, is the reason why we even do what we do today. You know what I'm saying? So check it out. One of my next songs I want to get into, man, you know, that I love so much and it was big on the scene, man, was Clear by Cybertron. This came out in 1983. Clear by Cybertron. Well, we used to get it in. Right here on Live Wire Radio. And I'm your host, Barz Nice on Barz Block. Get in the car. Let's go. Take a spin. Microphone shit. Y'all want to pull out the cardboard box on this one? Yeah, they're gonna make it. Yeah, bro. The linoleum, whatever it was, you know. I remember, man, growing up, man, and me and my friend Chris High C, we talk about this all the time, man. We could look from one end of the street to the other. We'd be under the street lights, and we would be practicing. Well, they would be practicing, you know, and we were safe, man. From one end of the street to the other, we knew everybody. People would walk by, speak, you know, and it was just a beautiful time, man. You know, in that time, man. You know, and we were just some kids just dancing. Nobody bothered us, man. You know, nobody bothered you. You were just some kids having fun. You was dancing, you know. Remember the fashion? You had your Puma suits, your Pumas, the fat shoelaces, the Kangos. I'm rocking my joint in honor of the culture today for B-boys. You know what I'm saying? You know, you rocked your hip hop gear. You know what I'm saying? And it was just a beautiful time. You know, like I said, we went from violence to expression. You know, and people, they embraced it wholeheartedly. Like, people took it seriously. My man Chris Jones, like he went as far as to like start going and doing tournaments. You know, his mom believed in him. You know, rest in peace, Val Jones. You know what I'm saying? She was a mother, like a mother from another. She was like, I'm like her son. You know what I mean? You know, we all grew up with me, Chris Jones. You know what I'm saying? And his sister Tara. Shout out to everybody back home that's listening. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate y'all for chiming in. Shout out to my man DJ Big Will. You are now live and direct on Barz Block on Live Wire Radio. Let me give you that live.wire 804, that's the Facebook, at live.wire 804, that's the Facebook, and at LWR 80401, that's our YouTube. You can catch us out there. And if you're listening in your ride, you can catch us on the Live 365 on Live Wire Radio. You are now tuned in live from Live Wire Radio Studios. I'm in the building with my team, Bully Boy and B Mumphrey, you know what I'm saying? And you know, we got some special for y'all today, like always, man. Straight from the source's mouth, the vetted information, you know. Like I said, we were just talking about King Trixie, the first B-boy. The reason why we even do what we do, and I told this story about how he was, battling his cousin Wallace D in a dance off, and it went from something to just, they were just tired of fighting, tired of the violence, Yo, what's up? And we are back. You are live and direct from Live Wire Studios. I'm your host, Barz Nice on Barz Block. And that was the song Clear by Cybertron. That was one of the songs that was very popular in the era of in the golden era of b-boying. B-boys, they really got it in when that song came on. It was like it was a given. When you heard that song, it was gonna be something. But yeah, man, we are spinning the block and we are talking about break dancing. If you're just tuning in, we're talking about one of the 5 elements break dancing, how it went from violence to expression. And when the youth decided that, it was enough, they had had enough of the violence and they wanted to change, and that's the beauty about hip hop. In that time, people went from gang violence to dancing against one another, and we use music and art, the art form of music. Art and music is the nuts and bolts of society. It is the thing that reminds you that you're a human again. It makes you cry, it makes you laugh, it can make you angry. Um, but it brings about the things in the people that makes them know that they're human again. Emotion and music is it could be used to exploit the worst in people. It could be used to bring out the best in people. We chose in that time in the '80s to use the culture of hip hop, right, to make a positive impact in society. It changed things. Hip hop can free you. Free you. What happens? You become a artist, right? You become famous, and what happens? You have a following, a audience. Then you start to sell merch. You become an entrepreneur. You sell your entrepreneur, your merchandise, and then you get into other things, So hip hop as a whole is just a beautiful culture. And like I said, today we're discussing breakdancing. I wanna hear from y'all. Get in the comments. If you're on our live Facebook live.wire 804 and LWR 80401 on the YouTube. Drop in the comments your favorite b-boy. Why? What was their favorite move? Uh, and continuing on this segment, and this is how the story goes, right? I got one of the most influential for me, right? The one that I fell in love with, man, because he was just so dope, man. They called him Mr. Electric, and he actually was seen on Graffiti Rock, uh, and some of the other the movies that came out on Beat Street. He played himself in Beat Street. But ladies and gentlemen, on today's segment of This Is How the Story Goes, I have Mr. Wave. And this story is this story is so dope. And this story is I mean, it's one for the it's so let me get into this story right. One day, Dr. Electric, aka Mr. Wave, was approached and asked if he would like to audition to dance for the President of the United States of America, right? He accepts the invite and agrees to audition during his performance. He displays signature wave moves that incorporated ticking, popping, and mind illusions. He then accepts an invite from the manager of the NYC Breakers, New York City Breakers, to join, right? And he was he was officially made the captain of the NYC Breakers, right? And his style was so smooth. His name should be called, and they changed his name. They gave him the name Mr. Wave because his style was so smooth, And so he loved that idea and accepted the name Mr. Wave and went on to perform with the New York City Breakers for the president in Washington D.C. And then the movie Beat Street, Mr. Wave also performed on Soul Train, Good Morning America, Graffiti Rock, right, once was stated, Prince, and three other presidents, Reagan, Bush, and Obama. Mr. Wave later moved to Chicago and started production and film, and his production was called Wave, A True Story in hip-hop, where he talks about his success and his angers, his failures. Mr. Wave also felt the need to be truthful with his fans and with the world, so he started a company called Real Song Productions to tell the stories of hip-hop in the 80s. Mr. Wave's documentary series is called You Can't Erase Me and can be viewed at youcan'teraseme.net. And that is written by my man Mike J. Shout out to my man Mike J. once again on Barz and Beat Society. Ladies and gentlemen, can I get a round of applause, for Mr. Wave. Mr. Wave is one of the most influential B-boys in the culture, ladies and gentlemen. Can I get a round of applause for him, DJ, in the background, for Mr. Wave? For my man, Mr. Wave. You know what I'm saying? He's one of the most influential, and like I said, man, I saw him, when I first saw him, he had that one move where he used to go down to the floor, right? He would start like ticking, and he would go all the way down to the floor, drop to his knees, and it was weird because he would pop back up like a snake, you know what I'm saying? It was like electricity live. I mean, it was just crazy. Like, when they say mind illusions, you really like, the way he would move, spin, and do certain things, right? It was just dope, man. It was just mind illusions, I mean, you had to be there. You know what I'm saying? To really experience the whole, experience, man. But yeah, he was, one of the most influential in the art. And I like to also highlight one of the ones, right, that most people don't know about, that you should know about. And this one, right, is because all these years you've been watching Michael Jackson, right? And you see the dope moves that Michael Jackson be doing. Well, I'm here to tell y'all that most of those moves was influenced or choreographed by a b-boy, aka Pop and Taco, Bruno Falcon, born June 10th, 1964, right, in Los Angeles, California, known for his role in Breaking and Breaking 2 in the 1980s dance, and Captain EO, Moonwalker, and in 1988 went on tour with the pop star Michael Jackson twice. Was a good friend of Michael Jackson for 28 years. That lean that you see in Smooth Criminal, where he leaned forward, that's my man Bruno. Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm saying? Can I get a round of applause for Bruno, man? Bruno Falcon was one of the most influential because, what I'm saying, the one of the most influential pop stars, one of the greatest entertainers of all time, right? He was choreographing his dance moves. Bruno Falcon, aka my man Pop and Taco. So we're gonna get right into the next joint, man, the next song. And we're gonna go ahead and go to Jam On It by Nucleus. This right here would always set it off when the B-Boys was on the scene. Right here on Live Wire Radio, you're tuning to Barz Block. I'm your host, Barz Nice. Talk. The mic. Radio. Now I did that to kind of because I knew I had got off script, so I think it was Jam On It, so I just went next with that. I was trying to look at that. What's next on that? Because I had
after.
Did I write them in the same order on the paper?
Don't worry about it. Just call them out.
All right.
That's too much for them to know.
All right. What's up, y'all? Hope y'all tuned in live on the Barz Block. What's up, man? Yeah, Pop and Taco. That was my man. Y'all remember one of my favorites too, man. That broom scene. Y'all remember Breaking? That was my man. Michael Chambers, Boogaloo Shrimp.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Robert Hernandez says, "Yo, shout out to Barz Nice and all the real hip hop heads." What's up, Hernandez?
What's up, Hernandez?
What's good with you?
Yo, that's an original B-boy right there. That my man. What's up? That's Master Chief, straight 167th and Shakespeare. You know what I'm saying? He's right there. You can look out his window and see the old Fevers Club.
He also said, Robert Hernandez said, "Yes, sir, Bruno Poppin' Taco. Falcon was very influential in Michael Jackson's career. To Michael Jackson's career."
Yes, he was. So, ladies and gentlemen, y'all heard that right here. Yo, shout out to my man, Bobby Hernandez. Appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. He's right, man. Like a lot of y'all don't know that, the engine behind Michael Jackson's his moves, and one of them we can't deny was Pop and Taco, you know what I'm saying? And he's West Coast. He was out on the West Coast. You had Shabba-Doo. He was also in Breaking. Y'all remember Shabba-Doo? He was Turbo's partner. Like I said, that famous scene in the store when he was breakdancing he told him to sweep the floor, the outside, and he went outside and just started doing his thing with the broom. That was crazy. I don't know how many people I've seen try that, and nobody. Back in the day everybody would grab a broom. You know what I mean? But yeah, he's right, man. And popping was big. Before pop locking was the thing in the West Coast, and then breakdancing, like it always comes from one place. But I'll say this is the segue into my next show, right? The man, we talking about breakdancing, but the man who started the L.A. Breakers came from Harlem, and we're gonna have him on next week. We'll discuss that. I don't want to let it out the bag. I'm not even gonna say his name.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But he started that the breakdancing movement on the West Coast. I'll just leave it there. I won't give it away. But his role is very influential on West Coast breakdancing. You know, that's just like I'll tell y'all this. Atlanta, right? Atlanta, Georgia. The person for taking breakdancing down to Atlanta was MC Shy D. In 1977, his father got a job at the Chrysler production plant down there. He moved from Bronx River Projects, right? And he went down there, and yeah, you know, he was actually he said he was the second MC. I thought he would be the first MC, but he was the second MC out of Atlanta, Georgia. You know what I'm saying? And he talked about his story. You know how he had to change, you know, his style up a little bit. You know what I mean? But yeah, breakdancing as a whole, man. I mean, wherever you was, it just depends wherever you was. You know how people they had different styles. You know, my people, man. You know, it was mainly popping. You know, and backspins, windmill. You know, that sort of thing. You know, we did a little bit of everything, man. But you know, out in the West Coast, man, it was like popping. You know, remember Rerun, Freddie Stubbs on What's Happening? He would do that was that style. It was different styles of different moves, different techniques. You know, just.
I know it was a battle rapper that tried to bring popping back not too long ago. I can't think of his name.
A battle rapper?
It was a battle rapper.
Wow. Now I would tell you a rapper that was a b-boy that actually b-boyed was Jada Kiss. Jada Kiss, he actually was a breakdancer.
I didn't know that.
Yo, what's up, y'all? You are now tuned into Live Wire Radio. I'm your host, Barz, Nice on Barz Block. And I was just discussing, you know, with the team, we were talking about, you know, b-boying and some of the people that were also, you know, in the industry. They may be an artist today, but they were b-boys. And one of the ones I named was Jada Kiss. You know, I just recently saw Jada Kiss, and he can still do it now. You know what I'm saying? I seen him like do a windmill. You know what I'm saying? I like seen him get down and do his thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of artists, man. That started, like I said, we started off in different facets of it. But you know, a lot of people I know were b-boys. You know, so we were talking about today. You know, some of the most influential ones, and one also that I would like to, you know, I would just like to highlight, man. Crazy Legs, Richard Colon. If y'all know who the Crazy Legs is, you know, Crazy Legs was with the Rocksteady crew. And he, you know, his name was Richard Colon, born January 1st, 1966, in the South Bronx. And he was a legend known for the earlier hip-hop stories in the pioneering era, president of the Rocksteady crew. And he took his form to London and Paris in 1983. So that's what I'm saying, man. Like, these are people that started out in the grimy, gritty streets of the Bronx in New York City.
Yo, you got Robert Hernandez said he's actually at work right now at Michael Jackson on Broadway.
Word.
Quantum Q said Jadakiss.
Yes, Jadakiss.
And Robert Hernandez says there were a couple of different breakdance crews that formed, especially in the Bronx, that stemmed from New York breakers and Rocksteady. There was a crew called Floor Masters, and
yes,
and
that's where I got my name from, Floor Rockers.
Quantum Q said that had his flame.
Thank you, my brother. I had to represent the culture properly today. This is the b-boy apparel right here, the Kango. Everybody, because you know the Kango, you know what it did, right? By it being terry cloth. It made it easy for them. You remember they would spin on their head.
Right.
It made them easy for them to spin on their head. You know what I'm saying? So like, you know, like a lot of, you know, I probably want to say a lot of the clothes that they wore, man, was worn just so they could, you know, made within the, you know, the whole orchestration of the dance, you know, routine or whatever. Yeah. Like, you know, dudes used to take the fat shoelaces, for instance. They used to take the fat shoelaces off their feet and put them on their hands and walk, do handstands with the shoes on their hands,
Oh wow.
and then put them back on their feet.
Yep.
You know, so like I mean, it was like I mean the things that you would see these brothers do, it was phenomenal, man. And like I said, you know, just to take it to that level where it took it from violence to expression. And you're right. It was a lot of groups that came off of the Rocksteady crew, and you had a lot of different other artists, or should I say, b-boys that were influential as well in New York City. Wayne Frosty Freeze. Wayne Freeze was he was with the Rocksteady crew, and he was and I think Wild Style, as well as Crazy Legs. Crazy Legs was in the independent movie Beach Street in 1984, right? And his first appearance mainstream was in the independent movie with it was by Charlie Ahern's, and that was Wild Style. So I mean, you man, I mean, you know, we talking about some of the most influential, but you had a lot of different b-boys, man, doing their thing back then, and this was during the pioneering stages. It wouldn't be hard pressed to see you look on any street corner and see some kids out on the corner breakdancing on cardboard or linoleum. That and double dutching. You know, women, the girls, the young ladies was double dutching, but oh, let me stop. Let me. It was B girls as well. We had some Star Veronica. Shout out to Star Veronica was a B girl. A DJ by the name of Blessed. She was a B girl. There were several B girls, you know, out there doing their thing in the pioneering stages of hip hop. And you know, we would like to, you know, just highlight all of them, you know. But today we're going to highlight the most influential. Like I said, we got my man Lauren Myers, aka Trixie, Mr. Wave. Like I said, you can check his stuff out on youcaneraseme.net. Real unsung. You know, You Can't Erase Me. This is one of the pioneering fathers in the culture of breakdancing. And like I said, the founding father, or should I say the first B-boy, King Trixie. We honored him today. Bruno Falcon, a.k.a. Pop and Taco. My man Crazy Legs. Like I said, if y'all got some of your favorite ones, you know, drop them in the comments, you know, so we can talk about them. Drop your favorite one in the comments. You know, what was your favorite move or signature move that they did? If you're tuning in, you can check us out. If you're not tuning in on any of our social media and you would like to, you can check us out at live.wire804, or you can check us out at LWR80401 on YouTube. I'm your man, Barz Nice, and we are live on Livewire Radio on Barz Block. And we're going to get into the next jam, the next B-Boy jam. Let's get into some of that Planet Rock by the Soul Sonic Force. This one right here. Oh my goodness. And you are tuning to Livewire Radio. Get funky.
His name is JC.
JC?
JC. Battle rapper out west.
Oh wow.
California.
And it's crazy because the breakdancing out on the West Coast, it was like, I guess the biggest run was from 83 to 85. And the biggest group was the LA Breakers. The LA Breakers was one of the first groups, one of the breakdancing groups to have multinational sponsors. And one was McDonald's and the other one was Adidas. You know, so again,
Yeah.
we can look at the impact of it. We're talking about hip hop now here, the culture, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
who else had a sponsor? Look, you see the pattern. One of the first non-athletic entity to sign a sponsorship deal or have them, you know, with Adidas was Run DMC. You know, the first non-athletic, because you know before you had to be an athlete, you know, but they were the first non-athletic identity.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, entity, excuse me, to sign with, or to have a sponsor like Adidas.
Yeah.
You know, the story from what the way the story goes is I think they invited the one of the presidents or someone from Adidas to a concert, and Russell brought him out on stage. Somebody brought the man out. I don't want to say names because I don't want to get names wrong, and but somebody brought the man out on stage, and the man whoever brought him out on stage, he grabbed the microphone and said, "I want everybody in the building tonight who got on a pair of Adidas to take one off and hold it in the air." It was damn near everybody in the building. And the man turned to him and shook his hand and said, "You got a deal." You know what I'm saying? So that was the first non-athletic entity to sign. Then you had, like I said, you had the LA Breakers, Adidas, McDonald's, and there was one more too that sponsored them. They had the dopest uniforms. They had uniforms with the logos on them and stuff. It was real dope, man. The breakdancing, man, in my city, in my area, you had different groups, depending on where you was. Like, you had the Salisbury breakdancing. You had the Floor Rockers, which, what Robert Hernandez was saying, the Floor Masters. That's where actually I kind of, if you will say, I made it my own. I did. I ain't gonna say I bit totally, but I went and said the Floor Rockers. You know what I'm saying? We should do our thing, man. We used to get gigs. Like I said, I would be the dude just, spitting. We'll see Corey Thomas, Chris Jones from High C, Logan Jones, Steve Spate. We had a big crew, man. Yes, y'all. We are live and direct back at you on Live Wire Radio. I'm your host, Barz Nice on Barz Block. We just discussing behind the scenes. We're talking about the different artists, the different b-boys from different, locations, the influence that they had, West Coast, East Coast, some of the most influential b-boys. If you're just tuning in, some of the most influential b-boys, of the hip-hop culture, b-boying or breakdancing being one of the 5 elements of hip-hop. It really had a remarkable impact on us as children. We stopped fighting and started dancing. Like my man broke down when you used to see the b-boys walk past each other and they was doing this, throwing their hands up. That was all part of the whole. Before they used to just throw hands and fight. When they start, doing this, walking past each other, you size your dude up, and you figure out who it is you wanted to battle, and that's what y'all did. You remember the famous scene in the movie Beat Street in the Roxy, and they just went ham. They went crazy, Shout out to my man Robert Taylor. That is AKA Lee. Remember Lee in Beat Street? Mm-hmm. Yeah, shout out to Robert Taylor, one of the B-boys, from Beat Street. That movie, man, was a dope movie. I watched that movie probably like 10 times, when I was a kid, man. That movie, it really honed in on the culture, man, and all of the elements, the graffiti, the artwork, the MCing, and you had a lot of pioneering faces in that movie, man. But like I said, today we are discussing the B-boy era, breakdancing right here on Live Wire Radio on Barz Block. And we were discussing the most influential, and we talked about King Trixie, Lauren Myers, a.k.a. King Trixie, Mr. Wave, a.k.a. Mr. Electric. He danced for the presidents, 3, Obama, Bush, and it was both Bushes. I think it was both Bush. No, Reagan. I'm sorry. Reagan, Bush, and Obama.
Yeah. Let me just cut in a second. Mike J. What's up, Brand Beat Society? What's good with you, Mike J?
What's up, Barz and Beat Society, Mike J?
Again, plug Mike J, because Mike J is that dude, man. He's good,
Mike J,
loyal, and he keeps
y'all never know what's going to happen in between the bars and the
beats.
beats.
No doubt. But Mike J said peace, and he also said Beat Street subway scene.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? That was crazy, too.
Word.
He said Beat Street Lee, and Robert Hernandez said Beat Street is a classic.
Yes,
Most
indeed.
Definitely it is.
Yes, indeed. I would implore everybody, go look that up. Go on YouTube or wherever, man. Look that scene up, man. It is a classic one. And when they came down the steps you know, and they faced off and they put the boom box down. They took off their coats, and it was so dope because, you know, you saw the Puma suits, the Kangos, the Sherlin jackets. It was so much fashion present, you know, in the culture at that time, man. It was just beautiful, man. It was just dope how we was able to just take and alchemize all the negative energy and turn it into something positive, man. And this is the reason why a lot of us love hip hop the way we do, because a lot of us took this shit seriously. You know what I'm saying? It's not, you know, like we still doing. I'm still messing with. I'm still doing this. You know.
Bust a move. Bust a move. He said he's still doing it. Oh, he said he's still doing it. Bars, bust a move.
Bust a move.
Yeah, bro. Hold on, let me throw you the wave, bro. Popcorn.
Yo. But check it out though. You know, but now, you know, I used to dibble and dabble, man. Back then, you know, like, you do the simple moves, you stick with them. And then when it got complicated, that's when I fell back. I was like, nah, you know. But yeah, you know, for everybody tuning in, you know, we thank y'all for tuning in, man. You know, it's been a pleasure, you know, discussing hip hop as always, man. It's just one of the things that I love to do. Shout out to my team in the building, Bully Boy, and my man B. Mumford. You know what I'm saying? The whole Live Wire staff, Tamika. Shout out to my man Quantum Q. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody in the RVA, everybody in the DMV. We are tuned in. You are tuned in live to Live Wire Radio. If you're just tuning in, get in the car, man, and spin the block with us, so we can, you know, we can bring y'all up to date on what's happening. You know what I'm saying, in the hip hop world. You know, we got a lot of stuff coming up. You got June the 6th. You got MC Shy Rock Day. That's gonna be going down in the Boogie Down in the Bronx. And I do hear, tell, or see. There might be some things in the motion for a reunion, for the Sugar Hill Gang reunion. I don't know. But I have seen some flyers floating around online about that. Nothing concrete yet, but you know, that'd be so dope, man, to have a Sugar Hill Gang reunion, man, and all of the, you know, artists from that era in that time frame, you know, get together, man, and get on stage. That'd just be so dope. You know what I'm saying? But again, once again, shout out to my man Robert Hernandez up in the BX, you know what I'm saying, an original B-boy, Master Chief, a.k.a. Master Chief, you know what I'm saying, graffiti writer, B-boy, MC. Shout out to my man Mike J. Shout out to everybody, man. There's so many names to mention. I can't mention them all, but I'm just going to say shout out to everybody that's tuning in. And we're going to get into one more of my favorite joints on the set, man. DJ, if you would please play that Hip Hop Bebop Don't Stop by my man Parrish. Bully, I know you probably remember this. Hip Hop Bebop Don't Stop. Hip Hop. It's got that it's got that 808 sound to it. Bully, that like the
Word.
Yeah, I want to say this was made. Bully.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you, what drum machine was this made with, bro? Just listen to the sounds. Do you remember any of the classic?
That was wait a minute, let me wait till that. That was either Roland 6286 or 828.
Yep, it was one of them. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Little square
joint, and the lights go across.
Yeah.
And the lights will.
That was way before the MPC. Them buttons was hard plastic.
Yeah,
they weren't rubber.
Yeah. Yep.
That was throwback there.
Yep. Yeah, but this joint here, man. I mean, you could just like, you know, it made you like when you heard it, you would just like you would see it. The whole, like, they would just start moving with it, man, and start doing stuff, bro, and gliding, man. I mean, like, when you sit down, man, and you just sit and, like, watch these dudes, man, you have to, like, for one, you have to be somewhat of an athlete, I would say. You have to be athletic, you know. I mean, to be doing those flips, spinning, you know, ending it up on, like, I mean, like, dudes, I've seen dudes, their whole head spin, like, all the weight and everything is just on their head and they spinning. Like, you know what type of agility, you gotta like almost have like cat-like agilities to do stuff like that, man. It's like, it's crazy. It's like, man, you know. But you know, it was just amazing, man. Like to see these brothers like Mr. Wave. I mean, like he was just like elastic or something, you know. And you know, the way these guys used to be spinning with the velocity, you know, in the windmill, and they would hold their legs out and put their hands between their legs, and they'd be, you know, going back and forth like in a cylindrical motion, man. It was crazy, but it's dope to know that it came from my man, King Trixie. You know what I'm saying? Like, just like he said, he didn't know what else to do, and he jumped over the dude's head and landed and did a spin, and that became breakdancing. You know what I mean? And you know, all in the name of, because like he said, he was tired. I mean, this is from him. They were tired of fighting. You know, they were tired of fighting. They was tired of the gang violence, you know, the killings, you know, stabbings, whatever. You know, it was rough, man. You know, it was rough, bro, back then. You know, like,
Hey, Amber Reed said, "What's up? Hey, y'all.
Yo, what's up, Amber Reed?
What's up, Amber Reed? AKA Disperse. Yo, what's up, Disperse?
What's up? Shout out to everybody. Shout out to the whole Hustle Hard crew. Shout out to Unique and everybody from the Hustle Hard squad. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Al Be the Greatest.
Word.
Everybody from the Parallel Diamond Cypher. You know what I'm saying? It was a dope event. If you missed that last night, Live Wire was in the building.
Live Wire was.
We were in the building.
Yes, indeed. Interviewing and having a good time with everybody.
Exactly. You know, we had a good time, man. It was dope. Dope video, shot by Global Everything Films.
Yep.
And that's my man Javon.
Yeah.
Javon Randolph. You know, Javon Randolph has shot 2 of my videos.
Hey, yo.
Yo.
Robert Hernandez said, he said, once again, shout out to Barz Nice and Bully, RVA and the DMV for keeping the culture alive from the South Side.
Word. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. Thank you, brother. You know what I'm saying? And that came from an original B-boy. That's a B-boy for real. That's Master Chief, you know what I'm saying? AKA Loose Talker. If I brought him in the studio, he'd shut it down.
He probably would.
He would shut it down off, and it'd be all from here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All from here. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to my man, and he's a hell of a graffiti writer. You know what I'm saying? You know. Shout out to my man, like I said, shout out to my man Mike J from Bars and B Society. Shout out to Sons and Daughters of Hip Hop, Sam Hawkins. You know, shout out to Janice Wiggins. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the Little Terry and Little Debbie. You know, everybody say ho. Eventually we're going to get them on the show eventually as well, man. They're going to tell their story, man. You know, I had them on one show, but we're going to get them back on, man. I think since then, Little Terry has written a book entitled Everybody Say Ho. Yo, what's up? You are now live with Barz Nice on Barz Block on Live Wire Radio. What's up, y'all? That was Beat Bop Don't Stop by Man Parrish. That was one of the joints that was one of the most influential hip hop songs that B-boys used to get their thing off on. You know what I'm saying? You know, but we were talking about, you know, the most influential B-boys, just, you know, closing, man. You know, we're talking about the most influential B-boys. You can go back and watch everything, right, on our social media platforms, and that will be Live.Wire 804 on Facebook and LWR 80401 on YouTube. I believe _Livewire Radio IG. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So that you can catch us out on those 3 social media platforms. If you miss the broadcast on Live 365, you know, you can check us out. You know what I'm saying? It was a pleasure. You know what I'm saying? As always, man, you know, discussing the things that we love the most. Hip hop, and one of the most influential elements in hip hop, b-boy and breakdancing. I'm gonna get into I'm gonna close it out. With some. I want to get it in. Let me get this one in right. This one here is the Boogie Down Bronx again by Man Parrish. right here on Live Wire Radio. I'm your host, Barz Nice, on Barz Block. Get in the car. Let's take a spin. Let's go.
You know, when I first saw that, I was thinking, first thing I thought was Boogie Down Productions.
Oh.
I didn't read it good. I was like, we about to play South Broad. South Broad.
This like to me this probably was like the first South Bronx song. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
you know they. Hey Bully, so hey look, Bully, we from. listen to the style, man, or that flow, man, right? Crazy, right? How it changed so much.
Yeah. That's right up there around Egyptian Lover. That's before Egyptian Lover, but
Yeah.
that's that
Yes.
Egyptian Lover style mimics that speed and the noises,
Yeah.
the sounds in it.
Yeah. 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 I mean,
The bass lines are all that goom goom. They're almost the same. That goom 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 goom. You hear that?
You hear? You
like
do.
The elements of it in here.
Yeah. Yeah. You do hear that.
I mean, to me, that's the most beautiful thing though from that era because you only had a select amount of sounds.
Right. You're right. You did.
Yeah.
So MCs had to go off of their.
Y'all hear that? B. Mumphrey.
You know what I'm saying?
B. Mumphrey said you only had a select amount of sound. That's what made it so beautiful back then.
Think about if y'all had the technology.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, bro.
Right. He made a good point.
You know, like if you had what we had now,
Yeah.
back then, what would this be?
That's a good question.
Oh man, that is a
probably-
good question. If you had what we had now,
Back then.
what
What would hip hop be now?
would hip hop be now? That's a good
It'd
question.
probably be something where we'd have just poof up in front of us.
Yeah.
Because if they had what we have now, we couldn't have gone nowhere but up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And even though we went up in our advancement on the technical side, we went backwards on the MC side.
Right.
Yeah.
We went from the essence of hip hop to talking about people mama, talking about killing people, talking about whatever, whoop.
And Rakim said that too. He said when did it become where the beats became more important than the lyrics?
Right.
You know, because you got people now, they'll just get on the joint. The beat is dope.
To me,
But-
that happened when people stopped listening to music.
Right,
It's
right,
different
right.
when you just listen to music and you just listen to beats.
Right.
That's true. That's
You know what I
true.
mean? Like, people just listen. You don't even know what they're saying.
Right. It's like now, the word is, and we hear a lot is it's a vibe.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's a vibe. It's more of a vibe than so.
Yeah.
And everybody just vibing with it. It's not even nobody's even listening to what the person say. He could be talking about anything, whatever. And people just into the music. But back then it was kind of like both. You had to be dope on as far as beats. Yo, you are now tuned in to Live Wire Radio. I'm your host, Barz Nice, on Barz Block. And you know what I'm saying? I hope y'all enjoyed the ride today, the spin around the block, as we discussed one of the most influential art forms in the culture, which was breakdancing, the B-boys. And we highlighted, the most influential B-boys, that being Lauren Myers, a.k.a. King Trixie, and my man Mr. Wave, Mr. Electric, and my man Crazy Legs, Bruno Falcon, a.k.a. Pop and Taco, Wayne Frosty Freeze, I mentioned, Robert Lee, I forgot my man Turbo, Michael Chambers, and my man Ozone, from Breaking. They, were in the Breaking movie, Breaking 1 and 2. Beat Street was Robert Lee and also Mr. Wave. Crazy Legs as well. He played himself in that movie as well. But I hope y'all enjoyed the spend today, man, on the block. We got it in, man. We talked about the B-boys. B-boys make some noise, you know what I'm saying? And we hope you enjoyed the new segment that's going to be from now on Barz Block. And this is how the story goes. You know what I'm saying? And it always will be vetted information from the source's mouth. You're never going to hear on Live Wire Radio on Barz Block right? You're never going to hear anything that was passed down second hand information. It's always going to be from the source, man. You know, because we are respected by the legends for keeping, you know, them alive. We respect the culture. What we do is so important because we, you know, like my man says, you can't erase me. And y'all can check his stuff out on the real unsung. You can't erase me.net. Mr. Wave, shout out to Mr. Wave, man. Thank you for your contributions to the culture, man, and you know, and everything that you have done. But you can't erase us. You can't erase us. We are the culture. We're not stuck in the era. We're not stuck in the era. We are the era. You know, and as long as we live, breathe, talk, walk, and are able to do what we do, we're gonna do what we do, and we're gonna be hip hop. So we like to thank everybody for tuning in. You know what I'm saying? Today on Barz Block, you know what I'm saying? I'm in here with my squad, Bully Boy and B Mumford in the building like a chilled wind. In the words of my man Bully, we get it. You know what I'm saying? Gang, gang, and all that. Shout out to my man Bobby Hernandez. Shout out to my man Mike J from Bars and Beats Society. You never know what's going to happen in between the bars and the beats. Shout out to DJ Big Will, my man Kurt Smith. Launch Wave Entertainment. Look out for that. It's coming soon from my people back home in the DMV from Delaware. We thank y'all for tuning in. It's been a pleasure, and I'm out. Peace.
That's my phone.
That's your phone.
I was looking at my phone like, wait a minute. All right. I heard it.
I'm timing to see how long it took the live to end.